Hello, everybody, and welcome to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? This is all about trials, tribulations, certainly lots of inspiration. I'm Maureen Edwards. I'm the founder of 8 Simple Steps, and I took a little bit of a hiatus, right? I've been off for 2 weeks, but I promise you I have brought another rock star entrepreneur, and I expect our conversation will be rock star as well. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time or will be watching the replay, I am the founder of 8 Simple Steps, and I am all about working with startups, those people who are struggling a little bit to build their business, people who are scaling stronger, and I take the hard out of entrepreneurship by eliminating mistakes, complexity, and the overwhelm that can prevent you from thriving and surviving. And I always say, you don't need to know everything in business. You just need to know what works, which is why I am doing this, because we are bringing you tips, resources, best practices, and different ways that you can implement into your business simply to move the needle. So let's kick this off with another rockstar entrepreneur. I've got Adrienne Barker, and Adrienne has a certification, MAS, from the promotional industry. But I really love the fact that she's an entrepreneur and the founder of Professional Global Etiquette. And I think you're going to be so impressed with what she does and how she can help small business owners. So welcome, Adrienne.
Thank you for having me, Maureen. I'm excited to be here. And I have to say, you actually just gave a great piece of advice. Entrepreneurs need to take hiatus. You have to take time for yourself. So you modeled the right behavior. That's absolutely smart. So I hope you have a great 2 weeks.
And that's about what entrepreneurship is, right? That we have that flexibility and that we can kind of control our destiny. It's one of the benefits, but I think it has to be done right in order to reap these benefits. And I'd like to ask you, why are you an entrepreneur? How did it even come about?
So the answer really is simple. First of all, I grew up in a family business, and my parents, they were really true entrepreneurs because they took the risk. They took a risk at a time in 1955 when no one really knew about promotional products. And I love the story that my grandfather actually said to my mother before she got married. He pulled a blind, the big, thick blinds, they had an imprint on it. And he said to my mother and father, Gloria and Herb Barker, he said, people are going to want logos on these blinds. People are going to want logos on different things. And my parents got married and they went to Cuba, Havana for their honeymoon. And then when they came back, they actually opened up the promotional products business. And so when you grow up in a family like that and you see how hard they work and you see the risks, my parents had a department store, had a fire. There's just a lot of things that they did. They had a fried chicken. Oh, I loved it. Golden skillet.
I love that.
And I was getting a little chunky and they're like, we're gonna like leave the golden skillet. That's no longer good for Adrienne. And my mom started reading about your heart and like fried food. And so we didn't have that. They had a gas station. They had a limousine business. They really loved exploring. And of course, right now in Connecticut, we have 2 art galleries. My parents started Barker Animation Art Gallery. And then we have Toy Museum, the Barker Cartoon Character and Comic Museum in Cheshire, Connecticut, 80,000 toys. And people come in and it's really a blast from the past, and the staff is amazing. And that was something around the 80s that my parents sat us down and said, we love the promo industry, but we have something new. We love Disney. And so they're licensed Disney. So I grew up with a lot of fun and excitement, but I also learned the things that probably were not done wrong. And I also learned, Maureen, that I'm a servant leader. And I learned that because I used to drive my parents crazy. I didn't understand why sometimes we would give a staff a title, but didn't really put them in that title. Like I was like, well, wait a second. Doesn't she need to be the national sales manager? How can we help her? How can we help her succeed? And I was a little annoying because when you're a servant leader, you really do think about the people. And, my parents were like, Sal, let's get some business in here. So anyways, I've learned a lot about myself throughout the years, and it's been a wonderful. And then I started Professional Global Etiquette in 2016.
All right. So before you get into that, I just want to say that the fact that your parents were basically serial entrepreneurs and identified gaps in the marketplace, took a calculated risk, made it happen. Some may have worked out, others they are like, I'm finding something better. You obviously saw that example and have it in you. I mean, you just can't possibly not. And so I love your background. And so, all right, so tell me, the company you have right now, I would love to know, some of the challenges you've had with it. So share with people what it is, a few challenges, and then we'll get to the great successes.
So actually, some of the challenges that I found were within myself. So my parents were amazing. We were never allowed to do certain things. I could never tell my parents I was busy. So you really very rarely would ever hear me say I am busy. Once they said, you can't say it because it's a relative term. The woman that just had her baby could be is just as busy, right? And we're not as busy as the president of the United States. So they said, and then I realized as I'm growing up, besides what they told me, is that we can make our own hours. So if I am busy, then I just work more. And if I'm not busy, then I'll go to the pool. What I noticed in the industry of the promotional products industry, and nobody take offense, I'm just being transparent and authentic, is that we really didn't know as a business the etiquette part. So some staff did, some did not. Overall, not a lot of people really understood what that meant. And I found it more when it came to, it could be simple things like, etiquette and writing or letter or phone etiquette. And then, of course, when you're in an industry like the promotional products industry, there's a lot of going out to eat and enjoying dinners, taking people out. And I never felt really comfortable. And I, in 2016, looked at myself and said, if you're not comfortable, Adrienne, then maybe it's time to teach other people. And then you have to consider, like, what do I want to do? I know I have to be trained, and I didn't want to be trained by on a website, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying I wanted real training. I didn't want to be trained to teach students because I knew that if I was trained to teach corporate, I could always add that in. And then I looked at some different classes, and everyone's great, but I chose the Protocol School of Washington out of Washington, D.C., and that is Pamela Eyring. And to me, it's one of the best schools. It was a week-long program in 2016. She keeps her classes very low. So I think 18 were in the class with some amazing protocol officers. And I have to say, I love the fact that we actually had to take half a day to learn how to shake hands and make introductions because we want to do it correctly. And so many people don't. And I knew that also I wanted to speak. I really didn't have a lot of opportunities to speak in the industry. I talked about branding and marketing, but I wanted to do more speaking and I wanted to be like my own flavor. And so etiquette helped me do that. So I was able to kind of, go get the training I needed. And then I have a very entrepreneurial son, Sammy, who has his own business, very successful. And he helped me with the logo and putting it all together. And then I actually spent the summer just marketing myself, like just getting my name out there, really understanding branding. Then I had a show, Adrienne's P's and Q's, and that was so much fun. I was like the Dare Abby of the radio. Oh, I want to do that again. I love that. And then just, I speak like you speak. I speak at different groups. Of course, etiquette also means networking. So there's a wide variety of opportunities. I've emceed events. My favorite is doing speaking about corporate etiquette and dining while we're actually dining. That is a lot of fun. And here in the Daytona Beach area, I haven't been pushing myself enough because I do other things. But when the opportunity aligns, then I enjoy teaching corporate etiquette. And you're right. I used to call it soft skills. It's now essential skills.
Oh, I am totally on board. So what has been your greatest success as an entrepreneur so far?
So, and I really didn't talk about the challenges first. So you're right. There's the challenges. First of all, I felt that I needed to learn everything myself. I wanted to understand how to do it. So I didn't want to really farm out something that I wanted to learn myself. So, I opened up my own YouTube channel, started candid conversations, no prep needed, similar to this. And that helped me to understand what it would be like to have, going live. And, 2 years ago, when I was kind of new in the live industry. So the challenges are really learning and understanding, and then you have to sell yourself. And I kind of lost my mojo. So during this time, I do want to say that I was still in the industry. After 35, 40 years, all right, I'm 60, so I'm going to say 40 because I started right out of college. So in the industry, you know, I still didn't like that's still in my blood. So I was working with another company called Halo, which I loved, and now I'm actually I help a spice line that's amazing, a supplier, and I actually do a lot of consulting in the industry, paid consulting, which is fantastic. But I found that my biggest challenge was actually selling myself and getting the confidence to really close the sale and to say I'm the person that you need, so let me have the speaking engagement. But that was part of it too, is getting myself in all the speakers bureaus, making sure. So every day I worked really hard without pay for about 6 months, just so that if you Google my name, so Adrienne Barker, and by the way, I give my phone number to everyone because I think that I don't want people searching for a phone number. But so, you can find me. I'm very easy to find. I made sure that was like the number one thing I wanted to do. Then, of course, giving tips, getting people to understand. So I had first opened up my Facebook page. I had tips on every country and how to do business with that country with the etiquette and protocol needed. And now, I absolutely love what I'm doing, but I've expanded again. So I do more than global etiquette. I actually am a LinkedIn coach, which I love. And I have some great clients and in the promotional products industry, actually. But I love that because you can trust me, right? Am I 100% like I don't make a mistake? No, I'm human. So I make some errors, but I'm very careful. I'm not going to ever embarrass you. So when you have an etiquette coach doing your social media, pretty much know you're going to be okay.
So, couple things. Greatest success as an entrepreneur, I'd like to know what sticks in your mind that you truly believe that you're proud of.
I am actually proud of again, I'm going to have to say my volunteer work, because that's always been something that really is my passion. And, we talked SCORE, we met with SCORE, and Julie Brander is the reason why I'm in SCORE. I think Julie, mutual friends. But that's really, to me, what I love. That has really helped me to not only be successful, but to understand that I'm actually good at what I do. Because often you can really think, well, someone else is better, someone else knows. But when I'm mentoring someone, I'm like, ooh, Adrienne, you know what you're talking about. And Mitchell Levy helped me with my pop, like, the secret of the words, like 6 words that you say to describe yourself. And mine is, I'm a second set of eyes for your business. Because as I was doing SCORE, I realized I could catch other people's mistakes. I understand processes. I really do understand business because I grew up in it and then still working in it. I don't catch my own mistakes that often. That's the only problem, but I can catch someone else's mistakes. So, I love that. I also have to say that I had 12 amazing years with Muscular Dystrophy Association. I did raise $1 million a year, and I learned so much during that time. I had the honor to work for American Cancer Society, and I love that. And I learned too. So I think that there's a whole combination when you have to really look in the past. So I'm not someone that just like watched a YouTube video and decided to open up a business. There's a lot of substance behind this space.
And I say this over and over, you can't build a successful, sustainable business by Googling it and YouTubing your way through it. You can get general information, but you have to seek people out who have done it before you, who understand the mistakes that are made and how to correct them, how to anticipate things and be able to prevent it, and really understand what the processes are because they have lived it. And I always say, if you're stuck on the side of the road because your car broke down, would you YouTube how to fix it? Probably not. If you're not in your lane of genius, seek people out who are. And I love the fact that you identified what your lane of genius is, which there's so much here that you are a genius with, but you're able to go ahead and channel it, and you're super confident with it. But it took a little bit of time, right? And it's good that you're self-aware about that, right? You can help others understand that you got to work at it.
And I'm a little concerned with our younger generation that they're making great money doing TikTok and, Snapchat and all those other things. But is it sustainable? What kind of business could that be if you have a large group but Facebook could close it on you. Like, what does that look like for the younger generation that really is able to make a lot of money using some digital tools, but they don't really have the understanding and the background of running a business, or even how to just take your idea. Our first conversation, when you're talking to an entrepreneur, it really is, what does it mean? Because someone could say, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to be able to work Monday and Tuesday. Like, everyone has different views, and that's okay, right? So, and a lot of people also don't consider their exit strategy in the beginning of their walk through the business world. So
yeah, I would say the moment you start your business, you should be thinking about a year from now, 3 years from now, what is the why and what is the direction? And so you should always be thinking about how it's going to evolve. And I know we're sometimes stuck in the minutia and drowning in the stuff. But people who are doing the whole TikTok thing, that's a one-hit wonder type of thing. Let me get in and get out, because you're right. You don't own those customers. You're on that platform on borrowed time. People can, Zuckerberg rips it out from under you, rips your ads out from under you, and there's no ability to reach and engage with your customers. So I always say, use social media as a tool, as a vehicle to reach the audience, but move them off and build your list so you can continue nurturing them if it ever goes wrong. It's just control over your business. So that tells me people aren't serious, really, if they're just on TikTok, sitting there, doing their thing and really nothing else. But
exactly,
you get a lot of money. So if that's your goal, then that's your business goal, right?
Well, and I still want to learn what it looks like. So I can't afford professionally to be a goofy person. I mean, I'm goofy anyways, but I can't be extra goofy on TikTok doing really goofy things. But I have a dog and a cat, and they're really kind of fun. And so I'll do some reels just to see. I'm so amateur, but I just want to understand it. I think that's the thing with me. I've always wanted to understand it. So yeah, so if someone's going to come and do my roof, my parents were the same way. You want to know enough to make sure that they're doing it correctly.
Right.
And so you have to dig in just to a point where then you could give it to someone else, or, finish it off and do it yourself. I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with either, but if you just hire someone and say, well, you do it, I don't want to know anything about it, you're going to be in trouble. It may not work out.
So, in your opinion, what are some of the best marketing avenues that new businesses can take right now that you feel move the needle pretty well?
That's interesting. So I'm in Daytona Beach, Florida now, and I'm here because my dad wanted me to open up our 5th art gallery. And he loves Tanger outlets. We're at a Tanger in Connecticut. And he's like, Adrienne, will you come up to Tanger, open up the gallery? So it was really fun because I've done retail as far as working in my parents' store and working at their events, but to actually from start to finish. And one of the first things I had to do was take Barker Animation Art Gallery and get us on the map. And honestly, I got some books and I just plowed down and I looked to see what other people were doing. So I did my market research, wanted to kind of check what sites are out there. What does Daytona Beach have to offer? And then I plugged away. I just plugged away. And so when I wasn't actually setting up the build out of the store and taking care of all of that, I was doing my own marketing. And again, I'm not an expert, but I knew enough so that I could bring people in. I could use Facebook Marketplace. So I was one of the only few that actually were bringing people in from the marketplace to come in. They knew they still had to pay tax. They still had to pay the Tanger fee. That was never a problem. But I was getting, and this was 2018, 19. I closed it when my father passed away in 2019, and my mother had already passed. So everything's up in Connecticut. And now, owner of the gallery and the museum with my siblings. So there's 4 of us. So we each are, 25%, and we each put in what our thoughts are and what our changes are and what we like to see. And, we all do things differently. And I'm a little bit more hands-on, want to talk to the people, recognizing I don't know about collectors. Let's talk to some collectors. Let's find some information. So, we kind of get our heads together so that we can make sure that, we're going to grow this business.
So have you had great success on certain platforms more than others with your business right now?
So one of the things with the professional global etiquette, I got on the speaker network. So I was on anything that was a speaker's. I put my profile, got my bio up there, made sure, and that was fantastic. Back in 2016, 17, having Adrienne's P's and Q's brought another set of eyes for me because I was on a radio. So that really helped. So doing things like that, getting yourself on other podcasts, that was fantastic. So I went out, I was on Women's Speakers Association. I just went out and asked all of them how I can be part of their event. And one of the things, Maureen, that I feel was part of my success when I was in the family business and even now is I don't have a closed door to vendors. Okay. When you're on LinkedIn, if you write to me, you're going to get a response back. Now, maybe I'll tell you I'm not interested, or, hey, you don't even know me. That's not like the best way to approach me. But, when I was in Celebration, Florida, so I moved from Connecticut to Celebration to work in the family business. I told our receptionist, Gertie, she said, what do I do if someone comes in? I said, you get me, because I want to talk to the people that have the nerve to knock on a door and walk in and make a sales call. So I've always been open like that. I think that you have an opportunity to learn, and you would never have me say, don't call me, or we talk about being the bandwidth, but I always want to make time for someone who's selling, because that's me too, right? So I need to do the same thing. So that set me aside too, because most of the people that tried to sell me, we're good friends now. Most of them turned into clients too. So don't ever close the door, which I want to say, for another little tip, when you are interviewing for your company, your own personal company, remember all the people that you're interviewing for, they could be your customers. So at the gallery, I got in touch with everyone. If I had to say, I'm sorry, you're not interested, I'm not interested in you, but thank you. Indeed makes it very easy. It's a couple clicks of a button, but it makes me sad when I hear that a company is hiring, but they don't get back to everyone, because you never know, that person could one day come in and place a big order with you. So I think and that could actually, I don't want to say it's a problem, but I have this, I have to get back to everyone. It doesn't matter. I don't like to leave anyone how can I say this? It's really embedded in me to get back, to return emails. By the way, if you're working with someone and you're like, wow, they're slow with emails, you respond. The faster that you respond to someone's email, you'll find that they start responding to you. So, give out what you want to get in. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Yeah, I think it's a representation of your brand. You should be always selling your brand, even if it's subtle enough to send an email and not ghost somebody, right? Because if that's how you want your company to be perceived, then you've done it to yourself, but always be selling yourself. And have you found that a lot of entrepreneurs, though, are not comfortable? I mean, they know their product and their service and their company better than anyone. And yet I have discovered that they have a hard time verbalizing it in a sales situation, or feel uncomfortable, like maybe they don't have the right to go ahead and say, I have something that could change your life. And I'm wondering, is that a little bit of imposter syndrome, or what do you think's holding people back from launching their product and getting in front of people?
So that's why I think that, the program that you're teaching really is important, because you're right. If you're in a room and you say, what is it that you do? A lot of people really don't know. Or if you attend a BNI meeting, you see little cards coming up, so I also understand that not everyone is confident. So when I was younger, I would say, I can't understand how they don't know what they're that. Isn't that in their blood what they're doing? Wouldn't they know? But as I'm older now, I realize too that people have nerves. I get nervous too. So sometimes you may have something in your mind and you just need something to really help you. But I do think that you should find some tricks so that you can understand, because people are going to look at that, and that can hurt your brand, because someone's going to say, well, if you don't really know, if you're not really confident in sharing that elevator pitch, or as Mitchell does, the CPOP, your point of possibilities, your credibility statement, that could be a problem. So that's why most of the time when you're taking a class on your business, you're going to learn how to describe it and what it's like. We had a program through SCORE, and one of the women, she had something really cool. It was custom, like a promotional product, custom pieces for that could go anywhere. So beautiful coasters, charcuterie, anything. And she was saying that it was protected furniture. And it took almost till the end of the class to get her to realize she is not selling anything that is a protector of furniture. She is selling a custom memory that can be personalized and have a lot of feeling behind it. And so we really had to work with her. And she's a bright, beautiful woman that is so creative, but that stopped her. So yes, you're right. And that's why, Maureen, we all need coaches. And I didn't have that when I was younger. It would have made a world of difference. So I'm a little jealous of this generation that they can get on the phone and they can have you or myself as a coach and be able to take the advice, that all of what the experience that we have, and let them help, that'll help them. Because I didn't have that, and I really could have used that. And to especially understand, the way my brain works, that would have helped me a lot too.
Well, that was one of my biggest mistakes, is that I didn't reach out to the people who knew more than I did, to help balance out, my strengths, but my gaps. And I love one thing that you said that just hits home for me, because building the foundation of your business is truly knowing your niche audience so you can hone right in and be able to talk to them specifically, and understanding that it's not about features of your product. It's about value. It's about outcomes. It's about benefits. How do you change somebody's life? And I love the fact that you were saying to her, it's not protected furniture. Like, nobody cares. Nobody woke up that day and said, I want protected furniture, right? But they do want to talk about how they want memories, how they want something sentimental, how they want to give something to somebody that makes everybody feel special. And so we as business owners have to understand. So all my entrepreneurs out there, take a step back and really identify who you serve. And like Adrienne just said, like, what do you really, really do for somebody? So if somebody asks you, it's not that you create protected furniture, right? So I think that's great. And that truly is building your brand and differentiating yourself, and really understanding how to talk to your customer. And I can tell that you really do understand how to hone in and really find where their gaps are so you can come and fill them. So kudos to you on that. So I would love to know how people can get in touch with you if they want to reach out and have some assistance with LinkedIn, right? Or they need assistance in any type of coaching, business coaching that you can provide. How do they get a hold of you, Adrienne?
So I have to say that there's nothing worse than trying to call someone wanting to buy something and you can't find a phone number. The struggle drives me crazy. So what do you do when the struggle drives you crazy? That if I want to find someone's number, what I do is I make sure that they can find my number. So by the way, that is really important. When I reply back, I give my phone number. I will give my phone number. Sometimes you can see an email thread, which, by the way, always change your subject lines if you remember, because that's really important. That's a good etiquette tip. But anyways, so always make sure. So I have no problem my phone being out there. 386-631-4577. Now, professional global etiquette. I know a lot of people have a little hard time with etiquette. So actually, I also have adriennebarker.com. It's my name. You see it right there, just easy.com. So I keep both. Another thing to do, right? We have to, when I realized, professional global etiquette is a little long, I immediately went to adriennebarker.com, which actually, if you're able to, and you have your own name, you should get your own name on the URL. So that's important. And then my website is great. And, I do it all myself. It's my own site. So right away you go in, they'll to ask you if you need help with your LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I always say, I'm not like, I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't paint walls, but I can paint your LinkedIn to look amazing. And I could give you tips and tricks. And I do it for my clients. Now I've been really busy with the podcast production, which I am loving. I can't even tell you how much I love that, because it's just such a joy. So I've had to take a little step back, but I'll pick it up again. But there's nothing better for me than just call me. Let's talk about your LinkedIn. I'll do it in the middle of the night. I'm that nuts.
That's awesome. Awesome. And entrepreneurs, they definitely need to have a strong LinkedIn profile as well, because you make a lot of business connections that are your potential prospects on LinkedIn. So reach out to Adrienne, and it is a first that I've ever had a rockstar entrepreneur give out their phone number. So take advantage. That says a lot about Adrienne. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me this afternoon or this evening already and sharing your story and your enthusiasm and how you're really giving back to the community. And I just appreciate you so much. So thank you.
Maureen, thank you for all you do for SCORE, all the time that you donate to the community. You are a rock star, and you have, I don't think you have really any idea of how many people are looking up to you and see you and hear you on the webinar. I've been lucky enough to be part of those webinars where I'm listening, and I'm completely impressed all the time. So please don't stop. Don't stop, because we need you, and thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are done for this evening. We will be back next week with another rockstar entrepreneur. If you need me for anything, you can reach me at 8simplesteps.net, and we can definitely have a conversation. And I will see you next week. Entrepreneurs out there, like I said before, you don't need to know everything in business. You only need to know what works. And there were some great gems here tonight on what works. So here's to soaring in your business, and see you next week.